hold off on spending any Measure H funds until we know exactly what this high school will cost, so we can make an informed choice. This board has already decided to spend some of the Measure H money, for instance, the engineering complex at the existing high school. The existing high school was made for 2,500 kids. That's about half of our, of the high school needs that we have forecast. That is a great idea, that building. It should have been held up and put in the next high school. We should fast track everything we can to get that high school up and running and not spend money anywhere else until we do. As far as the other buildings go in this district, we've had measures B, C, and E to help bring our other buildings up to a modern standard. We don't have to have every school be exactly the same. We don't have to have every kindergarten complex, every school be the latest and greatest. We need to see what is going to happen with the next high school, what it's going to cost, and make sure we have the money. That is our number one priority, and we need to keep that money and make sure it happens. Thank you.
Hi, so I actually look at things like connecting the dots. I come to every problem from many different perspectives. At the moment, there's a state bond measure that looks like it will most likely be approved. We are in line to basically receive reimbursement for the Amador project that was built a few years ago, as well as Jordan Ranch. And those funds, once they're recouped, will go back into Measure E. Measure E, therefore, has successfully met its need to actually build a new school, which means that we can use those funds to actually help modernize our existing facilities, the aging schools on the west side, which would therefore enable us to preserve even more of Measure H for the new high school. So you can't look at this from just the pure perspective of what we can get out of Measure H and out of the state. You actually have to look at how you can recoup funds back from other activities and other measures and bring them back to play so we can push as much money as possible. But that's only one aspect. We need to also consider what is actually the future of high school education. We know that, for example, the higher education levels are using much more emphasis is on technology. Much more emphasis is on how students interrelate with their faculty to basically get the most out of that interaction level. We already have classes currently offered at the high school, at DHS, that we wouldn't want to duplicate. What I would propose is that we actually look at our education programs and determine a way that we can actually not duplicate classes on one side and duplicate and basically provide different types of classes at this new facility. I come from a high school that was 1,000 students. It's ranked 384th still in the United States. A small high school is not a bad thing. It's actually incredible. You have much more and much higher contact with your faculty. So the first thing I look at is actually finding a way that we can compress the size of the high school down to something that actually is stellar and very exact in the way that delivers education. That doesn't mean that we can't find a site. I know there's a site that we are currently not looking at that would be immediately available. We reached out to the city, and I've spoken to some of the city council members specifically about this site. We could actually move forward and begin programming now. We could be in construction within the next 2 years. Thank you.
So I think the plan is to have it open by 2021, and I think we can get there. We are getting very close to narrowing down the sites to one or two. I think putting all your eggs in one basket would probably be a little risky because these are people who have options. Ms. Blackman keeps talking about a site, but we've never heard the name of that site, so I'd be interested to hear about it. And we would love to talk to anybody, and we've talked to other people. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with the city manager last week, and they came up with a possible another site. We will look at any site necessary to build a second high school on the east side of town. We are committed to doing that. We've said that over and over again. Will it be a cookie cutter of Dublin High School? Probably not, because there's just not enough land left in the city to do something like that. However, we do want to make sure it's an equitable program. It's a comprehensive program for all our students so that our students get the same education. As far as the funding with Measure H, we do want to make sure we use some of that money for the other schools because there are needs in our other schools. Even on the east side, Doherty is a great example of a school that has needs. We don't need cookie cutter schools, we need equitability in our schools. So if you're in high school at, one school and a high school at another school, it's the same education and the facilities offer the same opportunities. That's really what the important thing is. What does the program do and how does it benefit our students? That's the end game. Thank you.
Now, round 4 is our closing statement. This is when you can talk further about the previous 2 questions, any thoughts that you have not been able to address, or you can use this time to address any other issues that are top of your mind that you would like the audience to hear about. And we will resume the previous sequence from this side, from Amy all the way to Samir.
Just because you're lucky.
Well, I've lived in this great city for 17 years, and I'm proud and honored to have served Dublin Schools as a trustee for the last 6. But I'm perhaps even more proud and honored to be a parent in this district. My kids have received a stellar education because this is an extraordinary school district. It is because of strong leadership and innovative thinking. It is because of remarkable teachers in our classrooms. It's because of amazing community support that goes back decades. And I'm proud to say it's because of the work that we have done as the Board of Trustees, making thoughtful and sometimes difficult decisions that I believe have always put students first. With valuable input from stakeholders and collaborative efforts with our staff, I'm proud that during my time on the school board, test scores have continued to rise. We've constructed modern state-of-the-art facilities. For students, we've enhanced educational support programs, and we've remained fiscally solvent. As our district mission statement says, we've all become lifelong learners as we deal with new educational standards and systems, testing systems, new funding formulas from the state, the ongoing process of our work as a professional learning community, and now new leadership for the first time in a decade with Dr. Boozer as our new superintendent. This is a time when continuity is more important than ever for the Dublin School District. We've been successful. Our school district's in the best shape it's ever been in. And I know I have learned so much, and I know there's always so much more to learn. I'll continue to utilize my knowledge and expertise to ensure every child reaches their fullest potential and continues to succeed long after they have graduated. I will unremittingly advocate for educational opportunities for all students and champion efforts to protect their social and emotional well-being. I'll continue to see the big picture in our district, putting emphasis on the areas where we need to do better for our kids, and I will continue to be a tireless advocate on behalf of our district and its resources. I'm asking you for your vote to allow me to continue my service in Dublin schools because there's more important work to be done. There are big decisions to be made to help our district move forward and meet both the challenges presented by our growth, but also the changes that are coming as we move deeper into the 21st century. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to just continue with a little bit of my thoughts on the last question especially. But I want everybody to know, I've been actively involved here in Dublin and especially the school district since we've moved here. And I want us to continue to have the great schools we've always had. I'm worried that we've been a little short range in our thinking and not long term. I did actively work against the Measure E and Measure H measures because I thought the expenditure plans were too addressed to short-term needs and things that you should not use a bond measure for. Like Measure E had a lot in there for building IT equipment and computers. Those are great, except those are a very short-term asset. And we're going to be taxed on those for years and years to come. And there seems that should come out of our operating budget. As far as Measure H goes, I think we need, like I said, to hold on to that money, make sure we accomplish what we really need to do, and then we'll worry about the little things. And I'm not sure everybody remembers, but when the John Green School opened back in 05 or 06, it had smart boards, and everybody thought smart boards were great. We used a lot of Measure C money, hurried up and put smart boards in every classroom in the entire, district at the very last minute at a high cost. I'm hearing now that half of those smart boards are no longer used, decision, and that's why I urge you to vote my way. Thank you very much.
I want to once again thank the Dublin Chinese Association for hosting tonight's forum, and I want to thank everyone that's here this evening to take time out of your Sunday to come listen to the six of us talk. It shows the commitment to our schools and to our city. Public education in California continues to struggle with a lack of adequate funding and rules that are archaic. However, with all the issues around funding and the rules that the state puts upon our schools, our school district continues to succeed, and most importantly, our students continue to succeed. We're blessed to have the best teachers, staff, and administrators that help our students on a daily basis. We live in a community that is willing to give their time and money to support our schools. Even with all the great things happening in our schools, we still got a lot of work to do. We need to continue to ensure the fiscal stability of our district. And that is going to become a bigger and bigger issue with the new LCFF funding formula. It is not a friend to districts like Dublin, San Ramon, Livermore, Pleasanton. In addition, we need to continue to work to find solutions for the growth. We need to continue to focus on the most important part of our mission, the success of all of our students. We need to continue to offer intervention and enrichment opportunities in our schools. We need to ensure that all our students are college or career ready. Because at the end of the day, we will not be judged on whether we built the best building, the best school, but we'll be judged on whether our students are successful, and our students are successful. We need people on the board, on the school board with expertise, experience, and leadership to guide us through the coming years. And I bring a unique perspective. I have a father of 3, my wife is a teacher, and I'm a business owner. So I understand the needs of the student, I understand the needs of the teachers, and I understand the needs of the people in the community. I ask that you vote for me on November 8th. Thank you.
I've been working with a multitude of clients in different industries to help them tackle incredible problems. I've learned that the best way to solve a problem is to look at it from many different points of view, to understand every aspect of it before you launch into trying to resolve it. In addition, working with those clients, when you have issues that continue to come up again and again, it is life telling you essentially that what you're trying to do probably isn't the best approach, that you need to actually change. When I look at the issues facing our schools, I believe that we need to change our approach to address our growth. We need to think differently. We need to change what is a construct of a high school. Challenge that notion of how education is delivered in an area that is continually growing. K-12 education has essentially been in a holding pattern for hundreds of years. Our nation has gone through an evolution from agricultural era to the industrial revolution to the space age, and now we're in the information era. But education K-12 is still locked where it was hundreds of years ago. Higher education over the last 12 to 15 years has transitioned out of that mode, and they've done so successfully. We need to be aligned more with their thinking. So I have 2 viable approaches that we could actually pursue for that second high school. And in speaking with members of our city council, the issue was that our school board never asked them about one of those sites. They'd be amenable to it if only we would ask. They'd be open to it if only we'd come up with a viable proposal, which we could. But it requires a different way of thinking about what a high school really is. And the issue is that right now we need a program for that high school so that we can begin to understand what it is we actually need to build on a site if it does avail itself. But right now, instead of spending funds on developing that program, we're spending funds on developing a program for Dublin Crossing, a facility where the students simply aren't there.
So we've heard a lot of good ideas tonight. Everybody has opinions and has ideas what we can do to make things better. We've come a long way as Dublin. We're continuing to grow. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we had 5,000 kids. Now we have 10,000 kids. In 5, 10 years from now, we're going to have 15,000 kids. So we have to address all the needs. How are we going to pay for facilities? How are we going to hire new teachers? How are we going to get across town? How are we going to build a new high school? All those things are great ideas. We need to move forward. And things are happening moving forward. Could it be faster? Yes. Were there miscalculations and mistakes made in the past? Sure there were. We all know things that didn't go exactly to plan, like we all wanted to. What do? We learn and we move forward. That's the biggest thing. To get any of these ideas done, you have to be able to work with the other board members. That's huge. If you can't work with the other members of the board or staff, nothing gets done. I have the ability to work with the other board members, work with the city council, work with the mayor, work with developers. We don't like them, but we gotta work with them to get things accomplished. That's what we wanna do. We all need to work together to get things moving forward. So like I said at the beginning, I ask you to trust me. I've been here for a long time. I've got 2 kids in the system. I've continued to live here for many more years. And I have vested interest to make sure we succeed. So I'd ask you to help me do that. Thank you.
In closing, I want to stress the fact that it's all about our kids. Okay, we keep talking about doing things, we keep doing things, and then in the end we look at it and say what is done, what has happened, and how we want to make it better. And that's where I feel my experience, my decisions, and what I have done on the board with the fellow trustees should matter. It should matter that we have Measure H today because it's needed for the financial viability of our schools. It's not just a bond. It provides us the ability to charge level 2 fees. There is decision making